to 10.
So Janki, just give me 2 minutes. There's a technical issue.
अथ दशमोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच भूय एव महाबाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तेऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि हितकाम्यया न मे विदुः सुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः यो मामजमनादिं च वेत्ति लोकमहेश्वरम् असम्मूढः समर्थ्येषु सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोहः क्षमा सत्यं दमः शमः सुखं दुःखं भवो भावः भयं चाभयमेव च अहिंसा समता तुष्टिः तपोदानं यशो यशः भवन्ति भावा भूतानां मत्त एव पृथग्विधाः महर्षयः सप्त पूर्वे चत्वारो मनवस्तथा मद्भावा मानसा जाताः येषां लोक इमाः प्रजाः एतां विभूतिं योगं च मम यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः सोऽविकम्पेन योगेन युज्यते नात्र संशयः अहं सर्वस्य प्रभवः मत्तः सर्वं प्रवर्तते इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां बुधा भावसमन्विताः मच्चित्ता मद्गतप्राणाः बोधयन्तः परस्परम् कथयन्तश्च मां नित्यं तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकम् ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं येन मामुपयान्ति ते
The Lord is giving his various characteristics, saying all of this is me, in the sense, excuse me, so that we understand, the Lord. Is that why he's telling us that?
I think
Why
it's
is he telling us this?
we understand the way of life better. We understand the truth of life better, and do what's more important. The
Yeah, but
right
he's
way.
not telling us that. He's telling us what is God.
Mhm.
Why is he telling us what is God? Is it so that we understand God better? I mean, I'm talking about here, what we're discussing, not generally. Is it so that we will understand God better?
It's to remove the misunderstandings of knowing God.
Very good. Because you cannot, excuse me, you cannot understand God. Don't even try it. Though he goes on, all the various prophets and sages have told us so much about God. The fact is that he, she, it, whatever you wish to call it, is beyond human or any other comprehension. It is beyond the intellect. Then why is he bothering to tell us? I mean, if anyway he's going to say you're not going to understand, then why bother tell me only? Because the problem is not that we don't understand God. The problem is that we misunderstand God. So because we do not understand, we misunderstand. And that misunderstanding is the problem. Up to non-understanding, there is no problem. When you go to misunderstanding, that there is a problem. So he's basically trying to remove our misunderstanding. He says, I am unborn. And yet you celebrate Krishna Janmashtami. Say, he is unborn. Oh, let us go and celebrate Krishna's birthday. I am unborn. I am beginningless. What does unborn mean? Unborn means that there will be no change. Birth is equal to death because everything that is born must end. So birth is equal to death. And birth and death are nothing but a simple change. Like you are born in this class, at 11:30, you will be dead in this class, you will be born somewhere else. If you get terribly fed up with the class, then before 11:30, you will be born somewhere else. But the thing is, the change will go on and on and on and on, constantly moving, constantly taking up some change all the time. So birth and death is nothing but change. So when the Lord says, I'm unchanging, when he says, I'm not born, he means I am not changing. I don't suddenly prakatofy here and then disappear from here and prakatofy over there. It doesn't work like that. So if you know anything that in any way moves, in any way changes, it is not the state of God. Some people say, oh, I got darshan of the Lord, I saw the Lord. Now, how do we know whether this is true or false? We're not saying, when we say it's true or false, we're not discussing whether the individual is lying or not. Okay, we are not saying that a person who claims to see God is lying. So please be careful in philosophy, because we draw distinctions between things that other people don't seem to draw distinctions between. A person sees God, experiences God, and comes and tells you that he has seen and experienced God. He could be telling you the truth. But when we hear that he has seen God, then the question that we need to ask him is, are you seeing him right now? Because having seen him and the experience changed, then this is not God that you experienced. Whatever you experienced, however divine it was, not the state of Godhood. Because if it is the statehood, Godhood, it cannot change, says the Lord, not us. We are not making claims about it. It's the Lord who's saying that. So I am unborn means I cannot die, means I cannot change.
Jankiji, I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
How could you ask him, are you seeing him now also? Because it cannot be perceived by your senses, right?
Yeah, don't, I mean, it's only a dramatization. In other words, if you had any experience of the divine and that experience changed, that means it was not an experience of the divinity. That's all it's trying to say. You don't go and cross questioning people who come and tell you, I saw God. You say, oh, very good, very good. You maintain social norms of our society. People make claims. It's not our business to prove or disprove them, but just for our own comprehension. That if this person has lost that vision of God, it could be me. Maybe I say I claim to see Rama or Krishna or Allah or I don't know, anyone I claim to see. Then I must know for myself that if that vision is now gone, then it was that a vision. It wasn't divinity. So divinity is unchanged. Whoever knows it, knows it. Knows it, full stop. There is nothing after that. He is beginningless. Beginningless means he arose before time. Time arose at the second experience. In the first experience, there's no time. Just as at a single point, there is no distance. As distance is measured between 2 points, time is measured between 2 experiences. One experience, no time. Second experience, time stops. Suppose you're going the same experience, deep sleep. No experience of time. But from the time you remember going to sleep to the time that you do wake up, there is a distance. And that distance is known as time. So time is born at the second experience. What he's trying to say by saying he's beginningless is that he was already there at the first experience. Whatever experience was there first, whatever it may have been, the Lord was already there. He's the great Lord of the universe. Loka Maheshwaram. How is he the great Lord? What is the universe? It's either a perception or an emotion or a thought. It's either an object or a being, right? That's the whole universe. And what enlivens it all? Everything moves because of the presence of the self. It is the enlivening factor. You can imagine a massive factory all moving on that one fuse of electricity that's taking the electricity in there. All the spindles and all are going. Why? Because that electricity is there. The unknown, the unseen, but the enlivener. So he says, I'm the supreme lord of the world, just as electricity may say, I'm the supreme lord of this factory. Means it won't work without me. That's basically what he means. And what are you to know? Me. He constantly uses the first person singular. Know me. He uses me. Every prophet has used me to indicate that they have found themselves to be the self. When we hear them say me, we think of Mr. Krishna, Mr. Christ, etc. But when they say me, they mean the self. That's why they say, come to me, I alone will save you. And that same self that they found within themselves is the same self which is within us. So come to me means come to the self. We misunderstand it to mean their body, mind, intellect, and then we start quarreling about that. He undiluted among mortals, one who understands this. So basically, what is he saying? You understood yourself as the unchanging, as that before time, as the supreme Lord of the universe. See yourself like He is undeluded amongst mortals. He is not a confused soul. What confusion will you have if you understand yourself to be this? We get so enamored with the world, so enamored with the body, mind, intellect, that we get completely involved in what's going on. Suppose I have to go for an interview today. What I'll be feeling. Suppose I understand I'm the self and I go for an interview. Now how would I be feeling? Suppose somebody comes to me and says, I'm going to sponsor the land for the university. How will I feel? How will we all feel? But if we understand ourselves to be the self, then how will we feel? Undiluted, not only in terms of the divinity, but you'll be undiluted in terms of the word. Undiluted. What a superb way of living life. That it's just clear to you what is going on. You can stay objective. You can stay objective only because you understand it clearly. If you do believe that you are going to be very, very happy because you got this job, how can you not be nervous at the interview? Your joy, your life depends upon it. But if you understand that actually my life, my joy does not depend upon it, you are undiluted and therefore still in life, stable, not excited about things, not dejected about things. Things will come, things will go, but I go on forever. That is life. Undiluted among mortals. Marteshu. Marteshu is a very interesting connotation. Actually, you should, it's nice to sort of see the Sanskrit words. Asammudaha. Mudaha means a fool. Sammudaha means somebody in total delusion. Asammudaha, not in that kind of total delusion. So you may say, why don't you say amudaha only, not a fool? By implication, because he says everybody is in this condition, it's like we are all in complete darkness, complete idiocy. Can we see the idiocy? Think about yesterday, okay? Something happened that made you very agitated or very happy or whatever. You're very excited about it. And today what? What's happened to all that excitement? I had to remind you about that event of yesterday. It could have been something like you were caught in a traffic jam. So much went on. And today I've forgotten it. Strange thing, even women, they say that childbirth is one of the most painful experiences. Must be a horrible experience. Imagine that, childbirth. And then the mother gives birth to a child and she swears, never again I'm going through this. And next year again, she's having a child. Don't you find that fascinating? At that time, what did it feel? What does it feel even a little later? That horrible pain. So that is the worst. But worst means generally what we experience. But the traffic jam, the maid not coming, somebody being a little rude to you in the office. So much excitement. And even next day we won't remember. So some mood, so much blood pressure, so much tension, so much agitation or excitement over something that you don't remember the next day. It's not like somebody else says, oh, that was stupid. You yourself don't remember. You yourself have. It's gone. Asammudaha, undeluded. Not carried away moment to moment, every moment carried away with something or the other. Then what are you supposed to do? Do what you have to do. Somebody is rude to you, you put him in his place. What is it to get excited about? Some pain is happening, deal with it. You banged your hand on something and it's all swollen now. Put some ice on it. Just do moment to moment. Whatever has to be done. What's the excitement about? Then you'll find every moment is a fun moment. Just by staying objective. Asammudaha. Marteshu. Marteshu means in English we translate it as mortals. We don't really get into etymology, so don't really get the beauty of this. So asammudaha marteshu. The undeluded, the not complete fool among mortals. That's how you should read it. In other words, all mortals are complete fools. So the only rare individual among these mortals. Now, what is mortals? Somebody who, mortal means somebody who dies. Marteshu, amongst the dying actually, if you wanted to translate it. Amongst those who die. Those who die means all of us. So he's being pretty rude to us actually. He's saying, firstly, you're going to die. And secondly, you're an idiot. You're an idiot who's going to die. So now it's in why early morning on Sunday I have to come and listen to you being rude to us. But that's what he's saying. If you can remember who you really are, you are neither an idiot nor are you dying. Because you're an idiot and because you think you're dying, therefore, because you think you're dying, therefore you're an idiot. Because you aren't. Dying means subject to all these changes. That's why we call this world that we live in Mrityu Lokaha. It's a Mrityu Lokaha. It's a world of death. Sounds so pessimistic, world of death. Whole of the planet Earth, not really planet Earth, the whole galaxy is known as Mrityu Loka, where there is death. Death means change. And you go up and down with the change. Who is the bigger fool? Why are you going up and down with the change? Now that it has gone up, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to come down. Now that you've gone down, what is going to happen? You're going to go up. What are you going up and down the roller coaster for? People who go on roller coasters, I mean like real roller coasters, do it because they enjoy it, isn't it? They're going up and down in that roller coaster, being turned upside down, and they're having a great time. The simple question in life is taking you up and down on a roller coaster. Why are you not enjoying it? Why do you have to go to Disneyland, pay those guys, pay the airfare, put up with COVID and what is that, RT-PCR and all this horrible thing, go to Disneyland, pay them for it, then sit on the roller coaster, then say, I love it so much. I think your life is like that, Baba. Enjoy it right now. Have fun. It is. If it was not a roller coaster, so boring, nothing is happening. Imagine, okay, we want to start a university and then somebody comes and gives us the money and then we buy the land and then somebody else comes, gives us the money and then we put up the buildings and then everybody's so enthusiastic to learn Vedanta. They all come and join it and it's so boring, no? Now see how lovely we are. We want to study university. We don't have a cent. Nobody's giving us the money. Nobody's giving us the land. Nobody's giving us the... People are not dying to study Vedanta. Now here is some entertaining things happening. Otherwise, so boring. Here's a check, buy the land. Here's a check, make the building. We'll be bored stiff. Now sometimes somebody comes close to saying that, okay, I'm going to give you this. And then he backs off. Maja masti is going on. Otherwise, so boring. Similarly, in your life, husband one day is nice, one day he's bad, one day he's nice again, one day he's so irritating, one day he's so chipku, One day he's so interesting. One day he does something that you really respect him for. Roller coaster of life is going on. That's why it's interesting. But suppose you had a perfect husband. Then so boring. Shivansh, if you have a girlfriend, one day she's troubling you, one day she's nice to you, one day she has forgotten about you, one day she's calling you 20 times, one day she's not calling you at all. Well, this is some fun in life. Every day at 9 o'clock, if she calls you, you'll be bored. So every day 9 o'clock, you call me. Someday she calls him. That is the fun of life, no? So why don't you enjoy it? So what do you do when she calls? Then you speak to her nicely. When she doesn't call, you speak to somebody else nicely. Speak to whoever has called. Don't have to sit there and start saying, oh, she didn't call, she didn't call, she didn't call. But she has a life beyond you. You talk to anyone else who's available. Nobody's available. You sit down and study Vedanta. You've got 100 options in life. What is there to cry about? But we are nicely deluded. So we will go up and down, up and down, up and down, and not even enjoy going up and down. Then what are you going up and down for? At least enjoy going up and down. Have fun. Go and pull somebody's leg, trouble somebody, do something interesting. So he says, he who understands that there is really no change. Even if you don't go to high philosophy, even like any American will tell you, common thing that they say, okay, forget Vedanta and high philosophy and Krishna and all this spiritual thing, forget. Ask any American, he will be able to ratify this. He will say, ask him, is it not true that no matter how much things change, they stay the same? This is not a common saying. No matter how much things change, they stay the same. So what are you going up and down for? You're on the same roller coaster. You haven't left it. The same thing going up and down, up and down, up and down. You feel this change, change, change. No change. Same thing is on. So the question of life is, do you see the roller coaster, in which case you're stable, or you don't see the roller coaster, in which case you have changed? Quite simple, no? Nothing very complicated at all. If you are like that, you're liberated of all sins. Liberated of all sins means liberated of all mental agitation. Why will you be agitated if you can see this? There will be no agitation. It's so simple that you really have to stop and think, oh, why is he even saying it? Except that he's speaking to us who are so deluded that we don't seem to get it. Okay, verse 3 clear. Let us read verse 4 and 5. They're usually read together. They're traditionally read together. So we will also do the same. We will read them together. Buddhirjnanasammohah Shama satyam dhamma shamaha Sukham dukkham bhavo bhavaha Bhayam cha bhayameva cha Ahimsa samata tushtihi Tapodanam yasho yashaha Bhavanti bhava bhutanam Matta eva pruthak vidhaha Buddhirjnanam sammohaha Shama satyam dhamma shamaha Sukham dukkham bhavo bhavaha Bhayam cha bhayameva cha Ahimsa samata tushtihi Tapodanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva pruthak vidhaha. Buddhi, buddhihi. For those who are in the Sanskrit class, buddhihi, visarga sandhi, buddhi, jnanam, asammoha, shama, satyam, dama, shama, sukham, dukkham, bhavaha, abhavaha, bhayam, cha, abhayam, evacha. I'm breaking up the sandhis so that those who are studying Sanskrit can know what's going on. So what is he saying? Matta eva pruthak vidaha. Matta, from me, pruthak vidaha. Vividha, pruthak vidaha. Different qualities are coming from me. What are all these qualities that arise from Brahman? Remember, Brahman is the inactive principle that enables everything. So what does he enable? Buddhihi, your buddhi comes from him. It is enabled by him. What is buddhi? Buddhi is the capacity of discrimination. I hope everybody is very clear, at least in this class, what buddhi is. Buddhi refers to discrimination. Discrimination discrimination refers to the capacity to tell two things apart. You say your buddhi is good when you're able to make that discrimination properly. When you do things like mistake attachment for love, ignorance for knowledge, nonsense for sense, that means buddhi is weak. Unfortunately, many people associated with religiosity are incapable of making this discrimination very well. It is a very sad thing because it makes the people who do discriminate well think that religion is nonsense. So that's a really sad offshoot of this. So what is buddhi? It is the capacity to tell two things apart. Now recently I heard this video where a gentleman was telling us how to have a bath. He says nobody knows how to have a bath. Nobody knows how to have a bath? That's interesting. So I said, okay, let me see what is this great jnana we are going to get on having a bath. So his theory was that in olden times, we used to go into the river and take a dip. And that is what kept us very healthy. And so today also, that is what we should do. Because if you do that, it will impact some cellular structures. Now, this is the theory, that when you go and have a bath in the river, what do? You first put your head down. So when you have a bath at home also, you must pour the thing on your head first. This is a theory. Because that's the right way. Why? Because that's how humans have always done it. Up to this point, we're not discussing the individual place, but up to this point, would you agree with this theory?
No,
Why not?
there's no science logic given yet, so I don't know.
Okay, up to the point that he has told us. Okay, Meera also, you all know Tell me why. Maybe
Because
it's
the
not
reason
something we
is
do.
we have done it up till now. There is nothing else. I mean, there's no evidence that it's beneficial or what. Just because you've done it up till now is not reason enough.
Yes, that is true. But I'm just talking about what his claim is. Very good, Ashya. Please see how well Ashya has answered it. What is his theory based on? His theory is based on the fact that always human beings went into the river and had a bath, and what did they do if they first dipped their head? And that's the way to do it. But that's actually false. That itself in itself is false, because as Ashya very wisely tells us, when you enter the river, you take your feet in first. So following his own theory, we should first put water on our feet. Isn't it? People who are going to bathe in the river don't dive in, no? They walk in. So even if we were to agree with your logic, your starting point is incorrect. That everybody who has a bath in the river puts his head in first. Absolutely not. So when you listen to this, if your buddhi works, like Ashya's buddhi works, he says, but how is that even possible? Because even if you went into the river, you will be putting your feet in first. Isn't it? You walk into the Ganga. Ashya, you walked into the Ganga, obviously. So you walk into the Ganga, no? You don't dive in head on. I mean, some people do it, but they are the small minority. So it would not be correct to say that since always people have had a bath in the river, where their head went in first, therefore today you should do the same thing. No, that is factually incorrect. We don't even need to find out whether it is scientifically true or not, because your logic itself is not making sense. So the moment you hear these things and your buddhi works, I'm just talking about this much, okay? Only talking about this much, no comment, because these videos keep going around, no comment on any individual or any theory also, no comment on either the individual or the theory. So the point is that at least so much should occur to us that how would that be true if you're going to walk into the river? Straight away, no? So when buddhi works, half your problems in life are not there. Because 90% of things you can straight away reject. Because it's like somebody tells you, you're such an idiot. And you're such an idiot because you did this particular action. How could you do that? So stupid. If your buddhi works, what will you do?
You see whether what he's saying is correct or not. And
Firstly, did you perform that action? That's your first thing. Did you perform it? Because people can claim anything about you, right? So did you perform that action? Having performed that action, was it a stupid action? If it was a stupid action, then he's right. And you say, yes, sir, you are correct. Or if you have not performed the action, or the action is incorrect, then you say, okay, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Why am I wasting my time? I mean, why would you, right? Somebody is saying some stupid thing. What am I to do about it? You go stew in your juice. Why should I stew? Because you are being stupid. So if the discrimination functions in this world, then half your problems are solved there. And suppose your wife is very angry with you and she says, you're a no good husband, you're just driving me mad, you're doing this and that. Then first you check, is she mad at anybody else? First, let's check that. Because if you're mad at anybody and anyone comes in front of you, that poor fellow is going to get it. So if you feel that no, recently I don't think I've done anything that will irritate her, then you quietly just walk out of the room. She will cool down. She may apologize later, she may not apologize later, but whatever, you don't have to get into an argument, no, and waste your time. And your day is gone, because then he said, how can you talk to me like that? I never did anything, and you are this, and then you are this, and you are this. Papa, please don't waste time. Is it worth wasting your time on? Buddhi. Buddhi is discrimination. It is the first manifestation of the self. Please treat it with respect, because the first thing is buddhi. Jnana. Your buddhi is based on your jnana. What is jnana? Jnana is all your thoughts. This jnana is enlivened by consciousness. So, if the definition of jnana or knowledge in Indian philosophy is extremely, it's a killer. You try to define what is knowledge. The world has struggled with this definition of what is knowledge, and read all the various definitions. What is knowledge? So many philosophers have given us what is knowledge. The Indian mind or the Indian intellect has very, very nicely put it. What is knowledge? It is the combination of the self plus thought. Amazing, what a definition. This is a superb definition because it makes no judgment of the type of knowledge.
Ma'am, self and God are same, right?
Self and thought, Ganesh.
Thought, okay, thought.
The combination of self plus a thought is equal to knowledge. Self, did I not say that correctly? Self plus thought is equal to knowledge. Right? So when a cockroach is wandering on the road or wandering somewhere, and I'm looking as if there's no cockroach here, please, but there's a cockroach wandering somewhere, and it is sort of sensing with its feelers something, and says, oh, I should go in this direction, there's food, I can smell it, or whatever it is a cockroach does. That cockroach has knowledge. There is self, there is a thought. The biggest idiot of the world, thinking any thought of his choice, has knowledge. Self, the thought. The quality of that will determine the quality of the buddhi. Are you spending your time taking a knowledge of dragons and dungeons? Or what are the recent nowadays? What are the recent games people play? On those things they play games. What are those games? Anyone knows?
Most of them are like virtual these days.
Yeah, so those are the virtual game. Which is the popular one?
New State. This is like pretty. This is PUBG. New State. Very new.
New State.
Yeah.
Okay, so this new state. That's why you need youngsters in class. Otherwise, we are all such oldie goldies. We don't know which is the game nowadays they play. The new state. Are you spending all your time doing new state, or do you want to return to the original state? That is what is taking up your mental energy. Every new state you will go into. So the better your jnanam, the better your thoughts, the better your intellect will grow. Asammoha, non-illusion. What is non-illusion? How do you become undeluded? We are all deluded is a given. Now, how do we become undeluded? The single most important question. From now on, how do you become undeluded? How do you behave in this world as if you're undeluded? There's only one way to do this. Right now, from this moment onwards. And that is to never lose sight of the goal. If you are able to maintain all the time your vision of the goal, you will stay undeluded in all things. If your wife comes and fights with you, how will you stay undeluded? You will ask, is this got anything to do with my goal? No. What am I engaging in it for? Somebody comes and offers you anything, good words, praises you, says, oh, you're so wonderful, oh, this, oh, that. Then you ask yourself the question, has it got anything to do with the goal? If yes, you engage. If not, you say thank you very much. Simple, no? How to stay undiluted in life, how to stay objective in life, how to continue to be sensible in life. Just remember your goal. That's it. But we will not. Suppose I'm having a fight with my wife. Okay, no, sorry, with my husband. I'm having a fight with my husband. Then I need to ask myself, why am I engaging in this? What am I trying to achieve? By having this fight, am I trying to have a good relationship? Am I trying to break this relationship? What is it that I'm trying to achieve? And whatever I'm doing, is it taking me to that goal? This marriage thing is maha bugging, I must tell you. People will come and ask, oh, I'm having a bad relationship, but I don't want to be in this relationship. First, I have to spend half an hour convincing them that they do want to be in the relationship. Oh, tiring. Then after that, then they forget. Simple thing. I am engaging in a conversation, in going to a movie or whatever it is you're doing with your spouse. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to break it? Are you trying to make it? What are you trying to do? And whatever your action is, did it take you towards that goal? You would want to break it, go ahead, no problem. You want to make it, you want to break it, your call. But are you doing what you want to do? Crazy stuff, no? Seems so simple when it's in class. Every one of you agree. And yet somehow when we go live life, it's all gone. So when you go live life and you want to do it sensibly, as one big Maha Mantra, what should you have?
Your
Remember.
goal, vision of your goal.
Know what you're trying to. Keep that going. Don't lose that for heaven's sake. Know what you're trying to do. And then you stay undip. Shama. Forgiveness. Beautiful quality of forgiveness. So tough, so tough to let go. Somebody has hurt you, somebody has wounded you, can't let go. You remember for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. You're now 85 years old, you're still telling your husband, when I got married, you know what your mother said to me. But that mother died 40 years ago now. Still going on. You think I will ever forget? Baba, don't forget, but you are the one stewing in your juice, nobody else. Shama is the quality of maturity. You understand that people make mistakes. Actually, that's also a bad thing. You understand that people live by what they understand at that moment. I mean, what else will a person do, right? Whatever that person's comprehension is at the moment, he will do that. There was one marital issue between this husband and wife that the wife was extremely possessive about the child. She wouldn't let the father interact with the child. I mean, he could interact, but only in her presence. Otherwise, he is not supposed to do anything alone with the child. Okay, because not that she said that, but she just never let that happen. And she was, what should I say, encouraged in this behavior by her mother. This is as reported to me by the husband, okay? The mother used to do that. And they just want to ruin the child. They just want to spoil the child. Just think about it. Is that what that mother and grandmother wanted to do? They didn't want to ruin the child. They didn't want to spoil his life. What they wanted was something, they wanted to actually make his life. But that understanding of how his life will be benefited just happened to be incorrect. If you understand this, then you are charitable towards other people and their comprehension of it. If you don't understand it, you'll ascribe all sorts of motives that really weren't there in the first place. They didn't try to do that. They didn't try to ruin the child. No mother tries to do that. But some mothers have poor discrimination about what will benefit the child. Imagine if you could see it like that. How can you not have this beautiful quality of Shama? When you understand that each person just lives by their own vasanas, by their own understanding, what's to forgive? You know, that beautiful example of Newton, the great genius Newton. He spent 20 years in the discovery of something. 20 years. And he has all his notes of those 20 years. And, you know, as he thought about it. And remember at that time when he was functioning, there was hardly any, no support. Like we go to Google, but he had nowhere to go. So he had to work the whole thing out himself. And there was no electricity. And he used to sit in his study by the candlelight and write and write and write. 20 years of notes. One day, he happened to go out of his study for a little while, and his dog Diamond jumped onto this study and knocked the candle over, and that whole 20 years research was just consumed by the flame. All gone, unprotected. I mean, can't do anything. It was paper, right? Consumed by the flame. So Newton looks at this and says, "You little know, Diamond, what you have done." Diamond doesn't know. What are you going to do with Diamond? Diamond, that little puppy, he doesn't know what he did. Little dog. Now, what are you going to fire him? Are you going to shout at him? What are you going to do with him? He simply doesn't know what he has done. However much that might have damaged you, the fact is, you little know, Diamond, what you have done. Diamond didn't mean to ruin his master's work. Simply doesn't know. If you understand this much, who are you fighting? What are you fighting? Satyam, truth. What is Satyam and truth? It's living by what you believe to be the right thing. You live by your conscience and you live by your conviction. Your intellect tells you this is the right thing to do. Then for you, it is the right thing to do. Follow it. Satyam. A life of Satyam is that you have always done what according to you was the right thing to do. Satyam should not be interpreted in a very shallow way as just telling the truth and irritating everybody around you. You don't have to go around telling any truths. You just have to do what you think is the right thing to do. And that's why you need a buddhi, because just to know what is the right thing to do, the buddhi must work, no? The buddhi is only sharp, so dull. How will you tell? But anyway, sharp or dull, you have to do what according to you is the right thing to do. Because just by the fact of using the buddhi, just by fact of thinking what is the right thing to do, you are strengthening it, you are sharpening. So figure out according to you what is the right thing to do, and then you are living a life of Satyam, regardless of what anyone else has to say.
Shankita,
Yeah, Viti.
I have a question. I'm thinking about forgiveness now. If everybody's operating as per their vasanas, then where is the element of forgiveness as a quality itself? Why would even forgiveness come as a quality? Because isn't it a sense of ego?
Yeah, there is no forgiveness. But forgiveness has been associated with ego nowadays, so we're just taking it back. Forgiveness is nothing but understanding the other person. There is no forgiveness. I will forgive you, or I will not forgive you, or I will forgive, but I will not forget. None of this. Just understanding the other person. You understand where he's coming from. So you don't have a problem with it.
Okay, thank you.
Dhamma Shama. Dhamma means control over the senses. Control over the senses is a very, very important aspect of your life. It is usually used to mean that don't enjoy anything. How can it mean don't enjoy? How can you switch your senses off? The only way we can transact with the world is through our senses. There's no other way to transact with the world. How do I know anything about the world? How do I transact with the world? I have to use my eyes or my ears or my mouth or my nose or my skin. There's no other way to do this. So how can the senses be thrown out of the window? Because if you throw the senses out of the window, you are out of the window. There is no question of not engaging the senses. I mean, unless you're dead, you have to engage the senses. And yet they keep talking also all this time, sense control, sense control, sense control. It just seems like, get real, buddy. What are you supposed to do? Are you not supposed to enjoy a cake if someone gives you? Go to, suppose Shivansh calls us to his house for his birthday, and he offers us a beautiful chocolate cake. Are we supposed to say, no way, Shivansh, we want to eat the cake? What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to say, okay, thank you, you're giving me a cake, I'll take it, but may I have some pepper, please, so that I can put it on it and ensure that I don't enjoy this? Are you supposed to do that? Not supposed to do stupid things, right? So he's given you a piece of cake for his birthday, you eat it, you enjoy it. Super, what's wrong with it? Nothing. Please eat it and enjoy it. Don't complicate life. Then what is this whole thing about senses all over the time? They frighten us so much about don't go by understand. Understand what's happening. Since our senses are constantly engaging with the world, the nature of the senses should be understood. The nature of the senses is that they will gravitate towards, they will be attracted towards whatever is pleasurable. So if you put on a person's plate Karela sabji and fries, what do you think that person's senses will say? His tongue will say, I will have fries. Who's going to eat that Karela sabji? Burger and fries, your tongue will go towards, I mean, not Aditi's tongue. She will probably go for the Karela sabji, but for most of us, we will go for the burger and fries. Why? That's what my tongue craves. Every sense of mine is inherently attuned to pleasure. Every sense is inherently attuned to pleasure. But the senses are not sensible. They have no sense. Because everything that is pleasurable need not be beneficial. Funny word, no, in English. The senses have no sense. Then why call them senses? No sense. They're senseless senses. Because all they are interested in is कि मुझे अच्छा दे दो. That's all they are interested in. The eye wants to see beautiful things. It needs light. So how does Vegas attract you? Light. How do these computer games attract you? Light. Why is everybody glued to their cell phone? Eyes are glued to that light and make that light look pretty. Eyes cannot move away. Even in class, little bit. What came? It's pulling. The senses are pulling. So your ears want to hear something pleasurable. You ever want to hear something unpleasurable? Somebody's harsh to you, somebody's sweet to you, who will you go to? So the problem of the senses is they know only pleasure and displeasure. Buddhi knows beyond pleasure and displeasure. So you have to go with buddhi, not with senses. That is called shama. Simple. Shama here means different to Shama as per Shat Sampati, because here Shama means inner peace, tranquility. No, it's the same, but we are at the moment doing Dhamma. Dhamma we are doing, which is control over the senses. Salil, we are on control over the senses. Control over the mind we will come to next time. But in answer to your question, yes, Shama there and Shama here is the same. Unless you're talking about the quality of Shama, which starts with a K. So that is forgiveness, that is different. Okay, so that's it for today.